Okay, you guys. So, continuing my little breakdown, discussion, and news on the Transformers movie developments that we've been hearing about since Friday. We have this tweet here from Screen Time, who is a news outlet for movies and TV shows and various medias on Twitter. They put up this tweet a couple days ago when the news first dropped, and I figured I'd kind of break down like the 5 Transformers movies that are in development, what 2 of them are, and what the other 3 could be. Or the other 2, I should say. So, Screen Time tweeted here 5 Transformers movies are reportedly in development. 1, Michael Bay's project. 2, a live action film from the Transformers 1 director. And then 3, Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover movie. And then 2 other ideas in early stages. And the news is via Puck News. So this makes sense. I didn't actually think the Transformers and G.I. Joe one was a separate movie to Josh Cooley's and Michael Bay's. I thought Michael Bay or Josh, one of them was going to be directing the crossover movie, and then somebody else was going to get a different idea, and then there were 2 or 3 other movies in development that are separate. But it seems like the Joe movie is being reported as a separate film from what Bay is doing and from what Cooley is doing. So that begs the question, what the hell is Michael Bay directing? What the hell is Josh Cooley directing? And who's going to be the director of this crossover movie? And how much longer do we have to wait for this movie? That it would make sense that this movie would come before whatever Bay and Cooley are working on and whatever the other 3 movies are going to be. So this just brings up a lot more questions than answers, honestly. And this is pretty exciting, guys. This is going to be an exciting next 5 to 10 years of movie content as a Transformers fan. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to mean the quality is going to be good. I'm just saying in terms of being a fan, whether you're a person who makes content about this, it's just going to be a fun time these next years dealing with these 5 movies. Now, some of these movies could get canceled or shuffled around. We really don't know. I mean, there's Transformers movies from 5-10 years ago that we heard about that never came to light, like the movie in Puerto Rico that we got word on a few years ago. It seems like that's not happening anymore. There was the sequel to Last Night that was supposed to come out in 2019 that got canceled. There was the sequel to Bumblebee and the Beast Wars movie. That didn't happen. It got merged into one film. The Transformers 1 movie took over 10 years to develop because of the troubles that happened with The Last Night. Because if you remember, Transformers 1 was a movie that came out of that 2015 writer's room when they were trying to create that cinematic universe. So that movie was on the back burner for close to 10 years. It dropped 8-9 years after it was put into the development stages. So we really do not know what's going to happen with all of these movies, even the one that Bay is doing, Cooley, and the crossover movie. So it's going to be really crazy to see what actually unfolds, what the ultimate Skydance and Paramount plan is going forward, because I'm pretty sure Hasbro has really nothing in on these anymore, because they did say they're not financing the movies. And, this just made me think of something so funny. There were so many people in the fandom and on YouTube as well doing videos they were certain that just because Hasbro, a toy company, isn't helping Paramount finance the movies, that's the all-knowing factor that we weren't going to get movies. And now we got word 2 days ago that there's 5 movies in development, all live action. It's just funny to me. And there were specific channels on here that were really gunning for the fact that because Hasbro isn't financing anymore, a freaking toy company of all things, that we weren't going to get movies at all anymore. Now, I was speculating before we got this news that that we may have to wait until Paramount sells the rights, or we may have to wait until 2029 to see something, which still may be the case, but it seems like we may be getting something a bit sooner. I didn't really lose hope that we were going to get a movie. I just thought it was going to take a while, maybe 5 years at best, I'd say. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it just goes to show you that we shouldn't jump to conclusions just yet. And there were a lot of people in the community and YouTube channels doing that, and it was insane. Like, there were even people coming after me when news was coming out that Hasbro wasn't financing stuff, and I said that this doesn't mean we're not getting Transformers movies. Like, I legit said that. I think I made a separate video talking about that. It just wouldn't make sense. And people were coming after me and just being weirdos about things and saying I was clickbaiting and that we're not getting any movies. This is confirmation of that. And look at where we're at now. 5 movies are in development. And it makes me wonder, what is Michael Bay's project? I think this is either going to be, I feel like they're gunning for nostalgia. They're super desperate. Paramount is looking at what The Last Knight made and then what Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast made. 2 movies that weren't in the Bayverse. They weren't directed by Michael Bay. But even at the lowest, The Last Knight still made over $600 million. That was 8 years ago. Bumblebee, I think they crossed like 400 million. I can't remember. And Rise of the Beast did like 450 million altogether. And what's considered the worst Transformers movie ever, The Last Knight, that made over $300 million more than what's considered to be some of the best Transformers movies made, Rise of the Beast and Bumblebee. So I think Paramount's looking at things. They're really struggling as a company right now. I think because of this and them getting Bay back, they want to bank on nostalgia. Maybe they bring back some characters from the Bayverse. And I'm going to just say right now, they may be doing a sequel to The Last Knight. Say what you want, but there's a ton of people online asking for a sequel, sequels even, or maybe just a conclusion to The Last Knight to put the story at bed a little bit better. Because it does end on a cliffhanger, I do understand that. But, I don't know, I kind of just want to move on with a fresh universe. But I don't know, it just seems like they're struggling to do that. Even though I do think, if handled well, a sequel within the Bayverse could still be a good movie. I mean, I don't know what's holding them back. You could still do certain things. You could even retcon certain things. It's not like they're oblivious to doing that. I mean, they retcon things all the time, especially in those first Bayverse movies. I feel like this may be a sequel to The Last Knight that Bay is doing, but I don't know. I obviously could be wrong. I'm just speculating. The one that Cooley is doing, I think it's going to be one of 2 things. It's going to be a sequel to that Bumblebee Rise of the Beast continuity that they kind of got going on here, that may be separate to the G.I. Joe crossover. Maybe they want to put another movie out before that crossover movie to kind of establish this universe a bit better, which I think that would be a perfect idea. I think you need another movie or 2 to set up things before you get this big, huge, crazy crossover. Bring in Megatron, see what the Decepticons are up to, maybe introduce some more Autobots, really delve into these characters in this new universe that was set up in during Bumblebee, instead of just jumping into adding even more crazy stuff into the sequel that already added some insane stuff. Unicron, Predacons, Maximals, all this insane stuff. We didn't even get Decepticons in Rise of the Beast because of that. So I feel like this may be a movie in between Rise of the Beast and the G.I. Joe crossover. It could be some form of a live-action sequel to Transformers 1. Or it could be something totally different, like a spin-off to maybe the Bayverse or the Bumblebee movie universe. It could be a few different things. We honestly don't know. But those are my first couple picks as to what his movie could be. Or maybe that could be Bay's movie. I'm not saying that Michael Bay is 100% directing a sequel to the Bayverse. It could be a movie as a spin-off or an all-new universe, or it's set in the Bumblebee movie universe. It could be a few different things. And the G.I. Joe crossover, I don't know when this is coming out. It could be the next movie that's coming in the next few years. That would make the most sense, just going by what we've been hearing the last 2 years since Rise of the Beast. But obviously plans can change, and plans have morphed into something totally different that we didn't even know was happening until 2 days ago. So I don't know. Your guess as good as mine on when we're going to get that movie. And the two other things that are quote unquote in early stages, the two other films of the five, your guess as good as mine on what these are going to be, guys. Maybe these are going to be sequels to either the crossover movie or what Cooley's doing or what Bay is doing. Or one of these could be a Transformers 1 sequel. Maybe they want to take a crack at another animated film to see how that does. Because again, the critical reception and fan reception on that film was super high. It just didn't make a lot of money. So I feel like maybe Paramount would want to take another chance after they get another live action movie or two that makes them some good money for the studio, so they could invest more into maybe an animated film, a sequel to Transformers 1. That would make sense. Maybe that's one of the two movies. I don't know. There's just a lot of different areas they could go into. It could be a totally whole new different universe. I mean, Transformers, you talk about Marvel and DC doing multiverse stuff. Transformers is the biggest offender of multiverse and retcons and all this crazy stuff in the mythos. We know this just as much or even more than any Marvel or DC comic fan, you know? So these movies, for all we know, could be set in separate universes. We could be getting a Beast Wars movie still. One of these could still be that Manuel Soto film set in Puerto Rico. One of these could be the show that Paramount was developing, a live action Transformers show for Paramount Plus. We got news on that a few years ago. We don't know what's going on with that. That could have been turned into a movie. So a lot of different things going on. Just so much to pack in and speculate on for the next couple years to come until we get more news, which may be at San Diego Comic-Con, probably coming later this year on news when these movies are dropping or the next film. Maybe at CinemaCon next year in April. Your guess as good as mine, guys. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below. How do y'all feel about these 5 movies being in development, and what do you guys think these movies are going to be besides the crossover film? All my social medias and my Patreon are linked down in the description below this video. And yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye!